What's up, lords and ladies? AMC is back in your life today for the very first episode of Hand's Judgment. And what better way to do that than with spoilers? So a couple weeks ago, I reached out to FFG to try to get some spoilers from the Wolves of the North box, and they very graciously offered to send me 2 cards. I took some time to think about them and analyze them, and finally got around to recording this video, and hope you guys like it. So I think I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's get right into the reviews. The first card that I was sent is a character that I think everybody is going to be familiar with. He likes shaggy dogs, old nans, and playing in the first snow of Winterfell. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Rickon Stark. He is a 1-cost, unique Lord character out of Stark. He is 1 strength, no icons. His ability reads, when the effects of a triggered ability with the word search in it would initiate, sacrifice Rickon Stark to cancel those effects. So let's think about that for a minute. There's a lot of search effects in 2.0. There's a lot of reasons why a 1-cost unique card in 2.0 that is non-loyal is a very good addition to almost any deck. But let's look and dig into this card a little bit deeper. Some search effects in this game are very powerful. They have the ability to swing a match one way or the other, and being able to cancel it on demand is pretty powerful. Just putting him down on the board immediately takes away certain options from your opponent. So it's going to be known information to your opponent. He's going to be sitting on the board. So right off the bat, if your opponent has summons in his plot deck, it's a completely useless plot. I can't think of too many effects in this game that's more powerful than immediately saying one of your opponent's plots is useless. The card will be good in both Joust and Melee formats, though I would question using it in Melee because it is targeting a single person, so you're going to make an enemy almost immediately upon using it. It is a 1 gold Lord trait. So Lords right now have a little bit of synergy out of Stark. There's the Noble Cause plot, which obviously you wouldn't want to use with Rickon because he only costs $1, so you would be effectively wasting $1 by using it on him. But historically, Stark has gotten good trait synergy, so I expect in the future more stuff will be printed by maybe another King Rob that will boost certain Lord traits. It'd be a good target for Red Wedding if Red Wedding comes back. But in general, just having a 1-cost Lord, though it may not mean a lot right now, I have a feeling that will be very beneficial in the future. I think Stark players are going to be very happy to see. Rickon is 2 strengths or less, so that gives yet another target for the Direwolf theme, so Summer will be able to target him, so you can reuse Rickon more than once. Important to note that Rickon is not loyal, so he's a very attractive target for anybody that is going to banner out of House Stark. I can't think of any reason why if you're bannering to Stark, you wouldn't put 1 copy of Rickon in your deck. It's going to be great on setups at 1 gold. He's going to give you the opportunity to cancel a search effect if you need it. Worst case scenario, even if you don't use his text, he's sitting there as a 1-cost, very cheap military claim soak. Again, another small benefit, since he's not going to be attacking, he doesn't have any icons, he's going to give you a tiny little boost to dominance. So in a match where everybody is using every character they have to both attack or defend, and dominance normally would be a tie, he's going to give you that 1 strength to get that dominance power, which does add up over the course of a game. I just want to take a second to highlight some of the cards that Rickon can cancel. So sure, Summons, the plot, is probably the most immediate example that everybody thinks of, but think about this. The other cards that Rickon can cancel are Wolf Dreams, The Watch Has Need, Support of the People, Sir Hober Redwine, Olenna's Cunning, Shadow Black Lane, which is going to be very, very big to cancel in a critical match. If you can prevent a Targ player from digging for a Dracarys, my goodness. Obviously, he can cancel summons, he can cancel building orders, he can cancel Here to Serve, which is going to get bigger and bigger the more Maesters that they release. And the new plot coming out, A Time for Wolves, will be able to cancel. So just having him sitting there on the board as an on-demand cancel, very powerful effect. Love the ability. I also want you to think about weird combos with Rickon. Interestingly enough, if you read his text, it doesn't specifically say that you can cancel just an opponent's search effect. So imagine a scenario like this. You have 10 power, you're going into the final turn, you have initiative. You can almost close. You can get to 13 or 14 power, but you have a Renown on the board. Or maybe you have 2 Renown on the board. And you're this close to closing, but you can't quite do it. But you have a Wolf Dreams in your hand and Rickon on the board. You can play your own Wolf Dreams, cancel your own Wolf Dreams with your own Rickon, and then trigger Rob's ability to stand your characters with Renown and go for the win with 2 more Renown power. Little things like that are enough to make this card very, very powerful. I think immediately slot him at least 1x in every single Stark deck, easily. But we have a lot of positives with Rickon, but there are a few negatives, so I want to take a time to point those out. First of all, he's 1 strength, so he can be Dracarist very easily, or Confinement very easily, though I don't know why any opponent would use either of those cards on Rickon, but if they're worried about wasting their summons, he can be hit by Dracarys. He can also be hit by the new plot First Snow coming out, so he's going to go back to your hand a lot, putting pressure on you for that reserve cap. He has no icons. Obviously that's a big negative. He can't attack unless you have Syria or another way to give him an icon. I know some Stark decks are running Little Birds these days. He does get the Pillage keyword from Lewin, though I can't imagine why anybody would ever care about that out of Stark. And with Blood of the Dragon coming out, he's going to die the second a Targ player plays that plot. You have to assume now that every Stark deck is going to be running at least 1 copy of Rickon, if not 2. There's just simply no reason to not do that. And everybody bannering Stark is also going to be running at least 1 copy of this. Now that you've met Rickon, it is time to go to spoiler number 2. The next character that I have for you is a hard-faced and shaggy brown-haired woman whose body bears many scars. She's been described as tough and uncomplaining. She worships the old gods of the forest, and her claim to fame is that she's seen Hodor's penis. That's right, coming to aGoT 2.0 is your favorite spear wife from north of the wall. Say hello to Osha. Osha is a 3-cost Stark character. She is unique. She has a military and intrigue icon at 3 strength. She is not loyal. She has the Wildling trait, and her ability reads, challenges action, remove Osha from the challenge, and then stand her. Limit once per phase. Now this is almost an exact reprint. It might even be an exact reprint from a 1.0 card. I have to say all Stark fans are going to be extremely happy to hear this news that she's coming back. Very, very versatile card. Seemingly simple ability, but very powerful once you dig into it a little. First and most obvious use of Osha's ability is that you can overcommit on an attack. Force the opponent to defend for the full strength of the attack, including Osha and somebody else. And then once you realize you're going to lose, you can stand her up and use her again. So by doing that, you're forcing your opponent to kneel more characters to defend a challenge than they have to. Now Osha gets exponentially better when CP4 hits and Wildling Scout comes out. Wildling Scout's ability reads, action, sacrifice Wildling Scout to choose a character. That character gains stealth until the end of the phase. Now with the way stealth works in 2.0, this makes Osha way better here than she was in 1.0, because you can now stealth 2 different characters in the single phase using the same character, because stealth is calculated immediately upon initiate. That could really be the difference in winning or losing a match with a Stark deck. Osha is also going to be great out of Stark Crossing. So right now Stark has a difficult time putting bodies on the board, in my opinion, to get that 3rd challenge without leaving themselves completely open to a counterattack. So being able to initiate a challenge with just Osha, if only for the sake of initiating the challenge to get it out of the way and then standing and removing her, you can get a crossing power only having 2 characters on it. That's pretty good. Osha can single-handedly initiate 2 of the crossing's challenge requirements all by herself. It relieves a lot of the pressure out of getting enough bodies for a Stark crossing. I think Osha is equally good in melee and joust, probably better in melee even, because in melee you have way more need of bodies on the board to both make your own attacks and defend yourself than you do in joust, because you have to worry about 3 other players and not just 1. Also interesting to note, Osha is not loyal, so any house weak in intrigue, immediately Bera and Greyjoy come to mind because they are historically the 2 houses weakest in intrigue. I know Baratheon only has 4 characters natively with an intrigue icon. Greyjoy also only has 4 characters natively with an intrigue icon. The neutral Wildling Scout coming out is going to help both of those houses. But if you're playing Bera or Greyjoy and planning to banner Stark, there's no reason not to include at least 1 copy of Osha. We also want to say that the int icon for Osha makes her natively immune to Tears of Lys. Now, Osha has an additional side benefit if Martell wants to banner House Stark. We all know Martell has some tricks when they lose a challenge. Now, if you are a Martell house and you banner Stark and you include OCTGN in one of your challenges and you're winning it, you have the ability to pull OCTGN out at the last second to force yourself to lose the challenge, and by doing so maybe be able to sneakily trigger one of your after you lose a challenge effects. Again, not a huge deal, but having versatility and the ability to pull off tricks like that is sometimes the difference between being able to win or lose a game. But the elephant in the room here, the biggest boon that OCTGN is giving to Stark is simply the green icon. Now, when Britt and I were doing research for this episode, we were tossing around what was the biggest benefit of OCTGN. We were trying to count up how many green icons off the top of our heads we thought House Stark had before this. And my guess was 5 or 6, I think Britt's guess was 4. And when we looked up the actual number, we were astonished. How many green icons do you think Stark has? Just pick a number in your head. Stark has 3 green icons, that's it. They are by far the house with the lowest green icons. I went through for this review and I counted up how many green icons each house has natively, and I'm going to put the chart up to the side here. Stark, far and away, with only 3. They have Lewin, Sansa, and Caitlyn. They needed the most help, so another fantastic addition to the Stark character lineup, getting a 4th green icon natively. Immediately, in my opinion, every Stark deck needs to run 2 copies of OCTGN. There's no reason not to. And if you're bannering 1 copy, great card. Now, OCTGN does have some negatives to go along with her positives, so let's talk about those for a second. First of all, she has only 2 strength, which makes her extremely vulnerable to Dracarys. OCTGN is easily going to be killed by Sir Ilyn Payne when he is released. And additionally, in the mirror match, she can get killed by Greywind, which is very interesting. I know a lot of people have been playing Direwolf decks lately. Stark Fealty runs Greywind and Rob very commonly, so she will get murdered in the mirror match relatively easily. And also at 2 strength, she can be hit by confinement, so that is something you have to consider. And at 3 cost, she will also be hit by First Snow. So once again, Stark does have a little bit of an issue coming up with a lot of their lower cost characters and being sent back to hand. I think you got to look for Stark coming up to start playing a little bit higher reserve value plots, because you're going to have to play around First Snow. There's no way around it. It is going to be in the meta. It is going to negatively affect Stark, a few other houses as well, but it's going to hurt the Stark Direwolf and Stark Fealty builds a lot, I think. When you take the positives, I believe for OCTGN, the positives far outweigh the negatives. I think she slots at 2x into every single Stark deck, without a doubt. She's going to slot 1x into any Banner of the Wolf decks very easily. You don't have to build the deck around her. She can slot into any build. Another fantastic, solid card. There you have it. I'm sorry I took so long to get this video out. You guys have been very patient. I really hope you like the cards. I have a feeling this is probably going to be my most watched video. Everybody loves spoilers. I'm very happy to have been able to bring them to you today. Once again, thank you very much for watching AMC. I love you guys very much, and may you always claim your 15th hour. Mira, knock it off, please.